get it, you know I be on the what? Yeah. You know I be on the what?
What is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. I hope everybody's reaching for their fullest potential. And just like that, 2024 is a wrap. 2025 is around the corner. In a few hours is going to be a new year. And with a new year, usually everybody, they create new goals, New Year's resolutions. So with that, I wanted to kind of share a couple of pointers that I think will be beneficial for everybody to help you level up, man. Because we all want to level up. Everybody wants to level up. But sometimes we get stuck. Life hits us and things get in the way. And in order to get past that wall and those obstacles, you got to be able to really be focused on what you want to do. So I'm going to share a couple of pointers today. Hopefully they're good and you can use them to help you level up. So with that, if you guys are ready, let's get it. All right, so tip number one for today is work in silence. And what I mean by that is that with everything that's going on nowadays, it's like so much exposure to everything that's happening. Like everybody's constantly like online, scrolling, always externally. Always everything is kind of like what's happening out there, what are other people doing. That when you do that, you kind of forget that in order for you to get to the next level of your life or yourself, instead of focusing externally on what's happening outside, you got to be able to focus internally. And you got to be able to be honest with yourself and say, hey, what is it that I need to do? What are my opportunities? Where are my shortcomings that I need to be able to kind of like work on? Because if you keep focusing externally on the things that are happening out there and how everybody's kind of like succeeding or quote unquote succeeding, you're never going to be able to achieve what you want to achieve because you're not working on the skill sets and the things that you need to work internally in order to be able for you to get to the next level. Because whoever's out there, including myself, like if you're looking at me from the outside, might look like, oh, he's got a great life, but you never know what's happening with the other person that's on the other side of the camera. But the important thing is that whatever it is that you're trying to achieve this year, you gotta be able to be honest with yourself, sit down, reflect on your life, reflect on the things that you want to do, reflect on the legacy that you want to leave behind. And once you do that, then you got to be truly honest about yourself and be like, okay, what are some of the things that I know I need to work on for me to be able to level up? Because in order to achieve a specific goal, in order to achieve a New Year's resolution, if you're just constantly just focusing externally, you're never going to be able to achieve anything that you want, that you truly want internally. You got to be able to focus that energy internally so that then once you do that, you'll be able to know exactly what you need to do in order to achieve that goal, right? So if you, as an example, so if you know you have to, or your goal for this year is to lose weight, which is by far one of the biggest New Year's resolutions that there is out there. People go and they go to the gym and they sign up for memberships and things like that, but then 2 weeks into the new year or 30 days into the new year, like they let it go. It's because everybody wants immediate results. But what you gotta be able to do is that you gotta look internally and say, okay, in order for me to achieve this goal, what is it that I have to do, right? You have to watch what you eat. You have to consistently work out. You have to be able to say no to certain things so that you can say yes to the workouts and stay consistent with that. So like, depending on what it is that you have as a New Year's resolution, you got to be able to shift your energy of looking outward and look inward. And at the end of the day, just work silence. Don't tell anybody what you're doing, man. Just go about doing what you're doing, because everybody's like wanting to just kind of like talk about everything. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm working on this, I'm creating this business. Bro, just forget about all of that and just focus on you. Do you. Your results will speak for themselves. And 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now, you're going to be able to see incremental improvement. And that's what you're going to be able to use for you, for your own personal kind of like satisfaction that you're making improvements. But if you're consistently just sharing and saying what you're going to do, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, but not focusing internally on the things that you need to do, you're never going to be able to achieve. So if you want to level up this year, make sure that you work in silence. Don't share everything. You can share, right? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with sharing on social media, but the things that you really want to make sure that you gain some momentum and that you achieve it this year, just work on it and don't be saying anything to anybody. All right, so number 2 is you got your goal, you got your new resolution, you're working on it, right? You're staying silent about it. You're just going about it and working. Somewhere along the line, life is going to hit you. Something's going to happen that's going to try and derail what you're trying to do. And that is point number 2, when you have to make sure that you make adjustments. Because anytime you have intention for anything that's going to be beneficial for you, there's going to be some sort of distraction that's going to get in the way. And what you have to do is that you have to try and make adjustments. That might mean that the moment you say, hey, I'm going to do this, something else comes up that before you were like waiting for it and it never came and it never happened, and now all of a sudden it's happening when you don't need it to happen. Like it's like crazy when you don't need something to be happening. Like you getting a call when you don't want a call. You were expecting a call before, and now that you're expecting the call doesn't come through. So the moment you say, okay, I'm going to do this, now that call starts coming through. Like, it's just insane how the world works. But anytime you have intention for anything, distraction is going to follow. So you got to be able to make adjustments to make sure that you continue to make progress in what it is that you're trying to do. That may mean that, let's say as an example, you go to the gym, you've never been to, you've been on and off going to the gym, and you start going hard and you hurt yourself. That's distraction. What are you going to do about it? Right? Are you going to stop and not go and break the momentum of you going to the gym? Or are you going to make an adjustment and maybe do workouts that are not as heavy or are not as intense, but still get yourself into the gym and continue to do other things so that you don't break the momentum that you started in January 1st. So number 1, work in silence. Number 2, you got to be able to make adjustments, because if you don't make adjustments, that distraction is going to come, it's going to get here. And once that distraction gets here, what are you going to do about it? That's what's going to make the difference between you achieving your goal, leveling up, or doing what you want to do here in 2025. And then the last thing, once you choose your goal, you choose your whatever that New Year's resolution is, you start working in silence, the distraction comes and you overcome it, right? You overcome that distraction. The third thing, or the third pointer for this year, for everybody to level up, is you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent, right? You got to be able to do what it is that you're saying that you want to achieve. If you say I'm going to do it 3 days, or I'm going to do it 5 days in a week, or I'm going to do it 2 days in a week, or I'm going to do it once every week, you got to make sure and you got to commit to yourself that you're going to do that. No matter what happens, you have to make sure that you're consistent about that, because if you break the pattern, again, the distraction is going to come. You have the intention to do something that you want to achieve, and the distraction is going to come. What are you going to do about it, right? So the third thing is you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent. And I can tell you that for myself, anytime I've been able to achieve any level of success in any area of my life, it's been because I've been consistent. Consistently, I've been doing the things that I have to do in order to achieve success in that area, right? So the 3 things for this year: number 1, pick whatever it is. What's the most important that you want to achieve this year? Pick that and just do that. Work in silence. That's number 1. Number 2 is you want to be able to overcome the obstacles that are going to come your way. You're going to have distractions that are going to come through. You're going to have the intention of doing what you want to do. You're going to have a distraction that's going to show up. So what are you going to do about it? Right? So you got to be able to make adjustments. And then number 3 is, once you do that, you got to be able to be consistent. And if you're not consistent with what you're doing, if you're not consistent with eating right, if you're not consistent with going to the gym, if you're not consistent with doing what you have to do for your family, if you're not consistent with what you have to do at work, right? You can have a great 2 days at work, or you can have a great week at work, but what's gonna make the difference between you and everybody else at work is how are you able to differentiate yourself in the work that you're doing by being consistent. Because some people can be very consistent one week and then very inconsistent the next. But the people that are very consistent and have that just consistency of going up and up and up, those are the people that find themselves leveling up and achieving their great success. And there you go. Those are 3 pointers that I think can benefit anybody this year in 2025. If you take them, apply them to your life, see how it goes. But in order to achieve anything, man, that's worth it, or something that can leave a legacy, you got to be able to be consistent. You got to be able to work in silence, and you got to be able to overcome obstacles. Because if you don't do that, then again, you can have all the intention in the world. When that distraction comes, what are you going to do? Because the distraction is going to come. So if you made it to the end of the video, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. So with that, I'll see you guys on the next one.